much is that doggy in the window?
Hey everyone, welcome to Psychic Nerds 19, I believe. We have Living Blissful, David, Lost Shaker, Crypto Spartan, Samantha Jane James, Barefoot Doc, Human Avatar, Winner, not a loser, and the Ghost Santino. Pretty crazy week, I'm sure, for a lot of us. How's everybody feeling? Why don't we talk about strange energies from space? Anybody feeling a little bit less energy coming in this week than last week?
Yes.
Ooh.
Or more?
I couldn't sleep at all, but I just put it down to the full moon. Could have been energies from space. I have no idea.
I feel more, but I'm handling it better, or something's different the last couple of days, because I was happier or more adjusted or something before I started looking at crypto. And then I was like, oh, okay, like maybe I'm happy because that's going up, and I kind of hadn't looked at it for, a little bit.
Sure.
People called it to my attention, but I was aware that I was really happy and not caring about anything and in a really good place before I looked at those numbers.
Personally, I felt a little disconnected this week, which was a good thing. Last week, I really felt like I was being inundated, and I feel like I have some separation this week, which is good. Still feels pretty heavy, lots of stuff happening, but I have more of a sense of like being resolved about some things, and that's good. So I think it's just kind of grounded me or centered me. Anybody else?
Well, you saw me on Thursday. Oh my gosh, you were just, I was all, you were just like, whoa,
That was an epic.
It back, why are you, no, over here.
I'm a pretty good air traffic controller, but sometimes, lady, you really push my buttons and test my skills.
Oh my God. I was having my skills tested because the information I'm getting every day now, I'm like, I'm going up from here. No, I'm trying to think about rides that I was on like that on Six Flags over Georgia. Yeah, the parachute drop. Yeah, it just takes you to the top and then it just drops you.
Yeah.
And it's really scary, especially when your bum like lifts out of the seat.
You feel that zero gravity thing happening in your stomach goes to your throat.
Yeah, it's like crazy, right? But I've never experienced this before, as somebody who does what I do. So this is a very special time for the planet. They were not kidding.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Well, we've seen the masses decide that they're mad as hell and they're not going to take it anymore.
I love it.
Or being led just by some opportunistic people that want to punch other billionaires in the throat. I'm not sure, but I like what I'm seeing. It feels good to me. It feels like I think it's a perfect representation of where we're kind of at. And it's exciting. It's exciting to see people coalesce together. I'm not a good guy, bad guy narrative person, but that's what this felt like. It felt like people coalescing and trying to punch the bad guys in the nose. So, and that's
you guys were talking about energies. It's this is very much as was told to us by a lot of really skilled Vedic astrologers, was that this would be the time of Saturn, Jupiter, and Saturn. You also have Uranus and Pluto aspecting Saturn. So what you have is Saturn representing control structures, the old man, discipline, restrictions. Uranus, right, and Pluto is explosive energy, right? They're coming together. And it's so interesting to watch this whole drama unfold. That's exactly what's happening. These are exactly the energies that are happening. And I always say, when you see these kind of energies, they should be taking place in your own life as well. You may see similar things in your own life and how they play out, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And hopefully we can swing it to the positive expression rather than the negative expression, and use Saturn as building a structure and Pluto as building a new, revamped, renewed Phoenix type structure, rather than, I guess we'll have to blow it up at some point, but it would be nice if we didn't have to have complete destruction first.
It's funny how this is being interpreted. We talked about it a little bit on Thursday, but you know, you can pick your various talking head. I saw Jim Cramer say to these Wall Street Bets people, and there's some other groups. That's not the only one. But you know, okay, you guys, you know, you got a home run, take your money and go home. And it's funny because I don't think he really understands what's happening here. You know, so
No, they won't get it because they haven't seen that side. I found it so interesting watching the billionaires' reactions. You know, the oh, I'm nearly in tears. Why are you looking like this? Because I care. And I fell on the floor laughing. It was like, you care, really?
yeah, they didn't care in the death throes of a economy being shut down from a pandemic and trying to cannibalize and force these brick and mortars, you know, to dust. They didn't care then, did they? So
Exactly.
I don't have much sympathy for these people.
Someone's pooping in their sandbox.
That's
what's
it.
happening.
And they would never have expected their own structure to be used against them. And I think that's the most delicious part of it.
Delicious.
Well, I mean, I don't want to speak for all of us, but I mean, do we get that sense that that's exactly how this will work, that these structures are there, and I'm not going to go through them, but you know, we can all visualize in our brains several or several hundred that will probably be their own structures will be turned on against them, right? I mean, that's what this feels like. I think this is just kind of the beginning, to be honest with you. Not to be too dramatic, I'm not saying it's going to happen by next week, but I think over time and some of the energies that some of us are familiar with in this time period in which we're in, I think that's exactly what's going to happen.
Well, the people are waking up and the old structures are starting to crumble.
Yeah.
And here where I am in the mountains of Virginia, where it is redneck central, and I have various clientels. So I haven't seen the millionaires and the billionaires in 15 months now. They stopped traveling. They're all hunkered down. They're saving their money. But some of the regular people, like the mountain people and the people that just like work at the grocery store, they're still doing little things. And, you know, I should have 80 dogs here and I have like 3. Yeah. So everybody that's coming by is 100% red-pilled person. And in the last, I think it's been since, you know, the change in Washington, what I'm getting from everybody now, because I've had 2 crypto conversations today. That's why I was running late. Someone that picked up their dog, the wife dropped it off on the way to the funeral, and her and I were talking, and she's a nurse, and I was telling her that, you know, we're moving and we're going to put the place on the market, and we just want a different political climate. And I said, you know, it's not about whatever they're showing you over here. It's about something else. Like, you guys know, you're watching your money, right? And she said, oh, my husband has a Coinbase account. So of course the husband came to pick up and he wants to talk to me and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And that doesn't surprise me, but this is the 3rd multi-generational family that they've lived here. They have land that they got from relatives, and all 3 of them told me in the last couple of days that they are going to put it on the market and they are leaving. Wow. This isn't me. I'm transplanted from Pennsylvania. I understand that I'm ready to leave Virginia and go someplace else. These are Virginians that have never lived outside Virginia in generations and generations and generations, and they cannot stand what they're seeing right here. They can't stand a lot, and every single one of them wants to know, what else do I do besides gold and silver? Oh, I had a little bit in crypto. Do I really put more in that? And they are all, the last time stuff was big, people said to me, well, what do I do and what do I put stuff into? These people are saying, teach me, tell me where I go. How do I know something good? It's a whole different set of questions. They're a different person. They're wanting to learn how to take care of themselves, their family. They see that there's nothing that's going to help them. And most of them are small business people, or, you know, one of them had a little small business, or, you know, the wife was a hairdresser on the side or something like that. And they've seen how we got done, and how we got done by our fellow neighbors who are at home with masks on, telling us all small business people just to shut up and take it.
So what are you saying, Alana? Like, there's a lot of awakened people and they're going, hang on a minute, something's
not just awakened. awakened and ready to put not only their money where their mouth is, but to sell the land that their grandma and great grandma and great great grandma were born on. Sell it and leave. I cannot believe 3 of them now.
Hang on, but where do they go though?
I would have lost that bet to have 3 families tell me this week that, I mean, it's not a lot of land.
Okay.
One of them has 20 acres on a James River. It's a very nice piece of property.
Yeah, I wonder what the importance though is of leaving, right? What do you think? Short synopsis, but thoughts about what's the significance of that?
We're all searching to go be around other people like us. There's not enough of us here.
Oh,
They've tried to have meetings. They've tried to do stuff. 95% of the people here are sitting at home in fear with their masks on. And when we try and do something, like one small business was a bowling alley, and they are in like the smallest little, town that has like 1 stoplight. And they tried to have pictures with Santa where you could come in, you could socially distance, you could do what you wanted to do, and you got your picture taken with Santa. And they had hundreds of people blast them on Facebook telling them they should be ashamed of themselves. They were going to kill grandma. They didn't do the event because they were afraid of the backlash of people basically coming saying they were going to attack their business.
Yeah, I think that's the interesting thing about what's going on right now and has been going on. I mean, listen, we've kind of all, and it doesn't matter where we're at around the world, we've lived in kind of a weird state for the last year-ish, 9 months to a year. And I've seen that too. I've seen certain groups coalesce. Yes, I think on the surface, you see people being fractured and the reporting of how people are being fractured, and you see how interested they are in getting people to be pointing fingers at each other. But I think in my own personal life, I've only really seen people come together, to be honest with you, which is good. That's great.
They're paying attention to things they didn't used to pay attention to. They're saying to me, this is who's on our school board. This is who they just appointed here. Look, they just threw $65,000 to study this crap over here. And look at who we gave this job to. And we voted this person in office. And then they retired 2 months later and they appointed somebody that we didn't vote in. And these people didn't care before. They were busy working their lives and doing their thing. They're very, very aware. And all of a sudden they're ready to mobilize like I have just not seen. I would never, ever, ever have thought that they would be willing to put multi-generational places on the market and go to another. And they're asking me, well, where are you going? Because we'll think about going there because they don't know where they want to go either.
Yeah, interesting.
They just know it's not here. And they're not people like me.
It sounds like a good thing though.
It is. It's a really good thing.
Yeah.
They're not looking to anybody else to take care of them. They're like, we see the handwriting on the wall. They're going to print money. We need to be 1 step ahead of this. We're not helping industry here. We're chasing all the small business away. All the businesses are closed. So we're all going to go where there's opportunity.
Well, I hope everybody is using this time and these energies to determine, a couple of us were joking and, made a comment, it's time to embrace these energies. And, if you need to apologize or you need to say, I'm sorry, or you need to, threaten it, that's okay too. But whatever you need to do, now is a really good time to do that for some reorganization, take stock, who you are, what you've done, and where you want to be, and make some changes. This is a good time for that. It's a great time.
And these people aren't angry. Some of the conversations, because people stop, they drop off their dog, they like vent a little bit. They'll be like, oh, can you believe our governor did this? Or can you believe that? The conversations like that I was getting repeatedly where people just vented to us, not the last couple of weeks, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I'm not worried about what they're doing. I'm going to make a plan for my family. And this is what my family's doing. And yeah, we're thinking about leaving too. And we're looking at Florida. We're looking at Texas. All of a sudden, everybody's like,
this is a wonderful time.
It's a really good thing, I think.
This is a wonderful time for people to be more self-determinant, right? So if they've been living a certain way and they need to make a change, now's a really good time for that. Let's leave some of the self-organizing collectives and some of the energy stuff maybe for a bit. Let's get into some cryptos. Wonderful, amazing week in cryptos for a lot of us. We've seen the power of the Doge. That's pretty amazing. We saw Elon Musk change his tag in Twitter today to Bitcoin. That was pretty sweet. How you guys feeling about cryptos in general? And then let's get into some charts with Spartan.
Don't FOMO in.
Good advice.
I tell you what was really, I was saying a little bit of ethos with the Doge. I've got another psychic friend and we were watching the Doge charts. A lot of stuff was coming through as like prices, and we got it down to like how many hours before the peak of Doge. Like that was that energy. Or we're going, oh, I think we got 4 hours. Yep. And the timing was nice to play with the ethos with Doge.
Well, good for you. So were you using the charts as a testing mechanism for some intuition that was coming through?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Good for
and we were
you.
getting hours. Yeah, it was nice. I think we were out by 1 hour on the peak.
Hey, that's wonderful, man.
Yeah, it was nice. So
yeah.
I got that maybe that was all, this is part of a plan. You're starting to get the picture, you know, because,
Yeah.
yeah.
Remember it was the last Psychic Nerds? Didn't Crypto Spartan say that Doge was getting ready to explode?
There you go.
Yeah.
It was in a really tight trade. It was in a really tight trading pattern, and it hadn't done anything for quite a while. And then after crypto, this is like the week before our blast off, but I was talking when it was up around in this trading range over. Well, let's go over to 4-hour chart. Where am I? Yeah, so you get back here. Maybe it was daily. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember what I was seeing.
You're fine.
Yeah, so it was this.
Yeah.
You see this right here?
Yeah.
Well, it was range bound between like, no, it was higher because it was after the move up. This was the week. It was this one. That's why I drew the yellow lines.
Yeah,
it was
that
right
channel.
it was right in here, this channel.
Yep.
And all these small, they call them dojis, little tiny candles. They are. It's called a doji, Doji.
I know.
And you can look how low the volume was. So when you get a little tiny tight channel with really low volume, it's waiting on something to take off.
But a Spartan, that's so boring buying it there. It's so boring. Like it's not doing it. I want it to be going vertical. I want it to be going vertical, and then I want to buy it.
Well, as long as your broker is still executing trades, and as long as Robinhood doesn't shut you off, then you can buy it later.
Or sell whatever you have in your account.
Right. So this was like.
Oh wait, you mean trading? They've allowed trading again? I thought they outlawed it there for a minute. Oh.
So look, it's like this was coming down. It's like, well, it's still in a downtrend, still in a downtrend, still in a downtrend, and this shaded as something for later, but it's like, whoa, what happened here? So it just shoots up out of nowhere. Look at all this volume. It was just crazy.
The biggest problem people had was they couldn't get any. Like my sister, she was following the Wall Street Bets thing. I don't know if I think maybe she's in that group because she was in on, like, she bought stock in this was it GMC or it was GameStop.
GME.
Yeah, she had stock, and she was like, I can't remember what she said she put in, but she was like, it's up to $10,000 now, right? And then when Doge started running, I told her, I said, I've had Doge since 2017.
Yeah, I've got millions of Doge, and we'll see what happens here. But so this is when it first took off up to 1.5 cents, and then it pulled back some, and then it ran up again, and then it was resting throughout the day, and then at nighttime fell. The full moon came out, and it just got crazy. But when you look at this, if you draw the Fibonacci from the low to the swing high at 10 o'clock in the morning, look at how it ran up to here. Ran straight up to the 361 extension in hours. And typically in a stock that'll take weeks or months. if not a year, for a long run. Then it pulled right back down to the 161 extension of the first major move. But it's interesting, if you bring this down to this is the first swing, it stopped at the 261, pulled back to the 361 and continued. So these things are like, they're like living, breathing animals.
Yeah.
And what was happening as it was going, you can keep putting it on each one, and it's going to give you like price projections. So this morning in the Discord I posted is like, we were right about here. And I said, well, if it breaks above the 70, we're going to be back to the races. And Santino was on that bandwagon. We thought it was going to continue, but we didn't know that the platforms were going to turn off trading and no one was going to be able to buy it. So without any buying pressure, I guess they're just delaying it. So it was right around here when we were this morning, 9:45 this morning, and it kept making smaller and smaller candles, and it broke to the downside, came down to this resistance area or support area, and now it's starting to rally back up. So we're making money as Doge investors again. But with such an explosive move yesterday, this isn't gonna it's not gonna stop anytime soon. But I made a case for the bears earlier this morning too, because if buying dries up. Yeah, I'll get just 1 second, Santino. I hear you. So this was my downside projection right here, if it broke this low. But I was erring to the high side. What do you got going on, Santino man?
I was just saying, the more difficult they make it to get, the more pressure that builds, so that when in those times when you are allowed full trading on all platforms, the amount of buying that's coming into this coin is going to absolutely swamp it. They're showing the Doge chart now. I saw it. I couldn't believe it. I saw it on CNBC up next to Bitcoin. So this thing hasn't begun to pump yet. And this, by the way, this was giving you a clue of what it was going to do over the summer when the TikTok kids drove it up to whatever it was, 2 cents, or I forget what it was.
Yeah.
And I remember saying then, and Sam has been on this from the beginning, saying then that this is just a preview. This is how this coin is going to operate. And you should be, to anyone who would listen, I was saying you should be accumulating this thing, because when the real pump happens, the real movement happens, which is happening now, like this populist movement that's moving into these coins. I'm not saying I predicted that that's how it was going to happen, but you knew something was going to happen. And now we get the result. And yes, they're volumes are swamping platforms. We told you that was going to happen as well. But the pressure just and not just Doge, a number of coins, Ethereum as well. Like it's just building. Not everybody can buy Ethereum on all the platforms right now. So this is the kind of stuff that's going on.
So there were two blabs from last week that stuck out to me. Sam made the comment that when this thing goes, it goes. I thought that was very interesting. We've referenced that against other cryptos and assets, but before she's used that same kind of language, but I thought it was interesting. She applied it to Doge just a week ago. And then Santino, you were kind of goading me about the Doge chart, and you were kind of like making some jokes. Were they more than jokes, sir?
I don't remember what I was saying. I'm sure it's just foolishness.
Well, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. Maybe you had a blab of your own, but I remember you saying something about charting. With Spartan, why don't you show those Doge? Moo won't ask, but why don't you show those Doge charts?
Oh, yes. Right. That's right. That's right. I think you went up to do something, and I said, "Hey, Spartan, I know Moo wants to know about Doge, so could you put that chart up?"
Yeah.
Was that,
yeah.
Santino, I didn't ask you then, was that in reference to isn't that funny, the only wallet that I set up for MooAnt on the channel And it's in the description box, like every week. It's like, oh, MooAnt has his own channel. And if you want to donate, here's his Doge wallet, right?
That's pretty funny. So
Yeah,
is that the only wallet you set up for?
That's the only one. I don't have any other. I don't have
Yeah.
synthetics or Aave or anything else there, just Doge. And also Doge is, I don't do readings anywhere close to full-time. I'm a full-time creator on Patreon. That's what I do for a living. I hang out with a bunch of people. That's what I do. It's my job. But I do readings, of course, to sharpen my tools. And of course, the cryptos that really appeal to me, I'll have reading specials that if you buy this crypto, then you can participate in the reading, because that's how I'm going to get paid. You have to buy Link, you have to buy Vet, whatever the special is. And I haven't had like a Doge reading special, but as you all know, there is a plans for the Doge cruise. And the rule is that you just have to have purchased enough Doge to become a millionaire. So your dollar cost average out just has to make you a Doge millionaire. And I'm looking at it now, and now we're seriously talking about, I was like, and we have been talking the last few months on the channel about planning the Doge cruise.
I was going to say it's come up more and more in just passing conversation and jokes and like banter back and forth on the Discord, right?
Yeah.
It was a serious uptick, which is cool.
Oh yeah. I was like letting people know. I was like, oh no, there'll be, the plus ones will be like the spouses or life partners, but I'm going to make sure there's room for all the Sam Jammer, Doge millionaires first.
Yeah.
That's priority one, because it's not going to be like one of those great big ships. It'll be more like one of those Viking cruise, through Europe kind of deal, right? So we can stop in at some of the protests that are going on in Berlin and a few of the places that there's a lot of stuff going on over in Europe. I don't know when you're actually, let's get back to the charting, because I know we want to talk about some of the stuff that's going on in the world.
Let's one thing I noticed this week was I was looking at the Aave chart and looking at relationships and how things are moving, and I tried to get with some of my friends and they were all busy, but but it's okay. It's totally okay. It's like it's just so if you look at this chart from the low, so you go to the first swing low, you can see it pulls back right to here. It pulled back to what I call the buy zone on a pullback. So you don't FOMO in, you wait for a retracement, you wait for a 30 to a 60% retracement. You normally get it. So look at where these are lining up, right here, and then it blows through the top.
Yeah.
Let's move it up to the next one. It lines up here. This one doesn't, and then it goes up to the top, breaks through, and is pulling back. Bring it up to this one, which was it came back, pulled back to here. I drew my trend line off that, rallied up to the 161, pulled back to the 100, which is very constructive chart pattern, up to the 261, pulls back some, 361, pulls back some. So we're looking at 325 in a heartbeat. That's the next one. So it was just really cool the way that was stair stepping up and staying symmetrical within the percentages of Fibonacci.
I was going to say those Fibonacci expansions and retractions or retracements, I think they may call them, but they're pretty reliable, aren't they?
Yeah. And in heavily traded markets where other traders are watching them.
I got you.
That makes it more reliable, but this one is just really in sync with nature. It's in sync with the world.
Sure. Yeah, a couple of us were having some interesting beginning discussions about sacred geometry and
because this part of your arm is 161% of this part of your arm.
Yeah.
So there's natural body, Fibonacci is all over, it's everywhere.
Comes from the flower of life.
Exactly. Yep.
Spider webs, all kinds of cool things.
Seashells. So there's many normies out there that probably know what we're talking about, the Fibonacci sequence, but there's all sorts of these sequences that are much less known, that are replicated in nature and other things. Interesting stuff. Let's table.
So I just found that interesting. Let's go to a few charts. So this is our Bitcoin buddy. I guess someone tweeted about it, someone did something, but it rallied up. It's really cool. It broke its trend line, came back and touched the top of the trend line. You know, if you go to the hourly chart, it's going to look a little better. And so I expect this to, you know, now that it broke its trend line, it should continue up higher.
I was going to say,
which would be good for market cap, which will be good for all the other coins.
Yeah.
Because if the mothership doesn't run, nothing runs until later. But here's
Musk.
Elon Musk.
Sorry.
Yes, he's
where did he put it? Could you tell from the chart where he put it on his the hashtag on his Twitter?
Yeah, look at it. Look at that candle right there.
Oh, there you go. That's where he did it.
Yeah. You think it was at 3 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the afternoon? Well, no, 3 o'clock in the morning on January 29th. That's probably when he did it and tweeted about it.
So Ray Dalio says he likes Bitcoin and Bitcoin yawns. Nobody gives a crap. Musk puts a hashtag on his Twitter and it rockets. It rockets $7,000.
Well, one guy's the richest guy in the world, right? And
You know what? Life is beautiful. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, but how many Twitter followers does Ray Dalio have? You know.
Well, and I mean,
he's
a self-serving hedge fund guy too. I mean, these are the people that they're ripping apart right now.
Yep.
Right. Dalio very much represents what we were saying at the beginning. Like he's the old structure, right? He's the old structure system. Now he's a very smart guy. We shouldn't underestimate Ray Dalio, and he's really quite influential. But it just shows you where we are. That a guy like Ray Dalio, if he had said that about Bitcoin even 6 months ago, Bitcoin would have rocketed. But, you know, someone was saying here earlier about, you know, and we're seeing it a lot in the language, you know, the revolutions, things are coming down, things crumbling. They're just going to become irrelevant. This is going to be more of, they're going to be tossed into the dustbin of irrelevancy.
How much is that dog in the window?